This is Evan Cohen from the NFL to college football, UTEP to the El Paso Chihuahuas. Start your day with Unsportsmanlike with Evan Canty and Michelle, and end it with Sports Talk, weekdays, 600 ESPN El Paso.
The 600 ESPN El Paso River Oaks Property Schoolyard Sports Studio. Here's Steve Kaplowitz and Adrian Broadus.
All right, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome back to the program. Along with Michael Plundo, who is sitting in with us as well, and Adrian Broadus. I'm Steve Kaplowitz. Good to have you back. 600 ESPN El Paso, our home, and going to be with you for the next week or so. Today's the only full 3-hour day that, at least as of now, we can tell you we have. In fact, the Chihuahuas are back on the road starting tomorrow, and because they're on the road, it is going to be early games. Sugarland is where they're going to play at Constellation Field, home of the Space Cowboys, and that means 6:05 games on the schedule. So gives us a chance to spend 2 hours with you the rest of the week, which we're excited about. And today we get the full 3. So, hey, it works. And looking forward to really what's going to be a fun afternoon with us all the way up till 7 here on 600 ESPN El Paso. You just heard the Olympic rundown from Adrian. It's been a good weekend. A lot of great Olympic sports. Man, I loved it. Loved consuming Olympic. And by the way, it wasn't all about the Americans. I couldn't get enough of Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz yesterday. That was great. I felt like I was Lane Frank for a few hours watching tennis on the main stage from Roland Garros for the gold medal. And congratulations to the Joker, adding something he has never been able to get up until yesterday, a gold medal.
Okay, Steve, we've already heard the Peacock sympathizer right here from both of us because both of us have the app. Both of us are well-versed in this. But I'm hearing a lot of complaints, especially this weekend was I felt like the complaints were at the highest levels of people just unable to watch anything. Like they mentioned the Alcaraz-Djokovic final that they weren't able to watch. They mentioned the golf final they weren't able to watch. I was thinking, man, is this going to be the day for Spain? Because Rahm was leading by 4 strokes and Alcaraz going in with all the momentum. Djokovic ends up winning that one. And then Scotty Scheffler, literally Captain America himself, winning the 5th major, let's just call it what it is, out of the Olympics and coming back to win the gold. For those viewers out there, or those people out there who are saying, hey, I can't watch any of this stuff. How are you guys getting this stuff? What's the best advice you're giving to people right now?
Well, first off, I thought that the tennis match was available over the air. That was app only to watch that?
Well, I don't know about app only, but I do know over the air was not on.
Really?
Well, I was trying to watch it over the air, and then I had to switch over to the app, and that's how I ended up watching it.
I got bad news for you. Drop $5-6 and go watch. Here's what I don't understand, okay? This blows my mind. People will spend how much money going out to a movie or a ball game or a concert or something like that. And the Olympics is 2 weeks. So to spend whatever it costs for a month to go download the Peacock app and watch it like that, wouldn't you think you get your money's worth out of doing that?
I think so. I would say this. As far as live entertainment, live sports, this is usually a lull. This is usually that period where absolutely nothing is going on. And so to have something to talk about in sports, like here in the first couple weeks of August, usually all we're talking about is training camp previews here on this show. But for that alone, I'd be paying for it.
I'm looking at this. Okay. It's $7.99. So for $8, you get the Olympics. And you get it for a month. That's it. Try it out for a month. It's kind of like Max, right? So one night, my family decided they wanted to watch these Jurassic Park movies that are only available on Max, like Jurassic World. And we said, well, how much is Max for a month? It's like $10. All right. Well, it's going to be a lot less than going to a movie. So we bought it. Now we've got it for 2 months because we've rolled it over. But the point is, That's what you do. If you want something, you pay for it. I mean, here's the deal. Unless you start scrolling through all the Spanish stations to see if it's on there, and it doesn't happen here, then there's nothing you can do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't really find $8 to be killing people to watch 2 weeks of whatever they want. That's the best part. Let me say that again. Whatever you want to watch is on. Like, literally every sport involving every country is on that app for 2 weeks for the Olympics for $8. I mean, where are you going to find a better deal than that? I went to lunch today. Cost me $12. That's $4 more than this app would cost. So, I mean, that's my answer there. Spend the money on the app.
I like your justification because when you just put into the prices of just a movie, you go movie for $2, you're not going anywhere unless you're going to the dollar movies for less than $20. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So you just pay for a subscription, you're pretty good to go. The inaccessibility, I get it. Like, I see why people are a little upset. I don't know why. Tennis wasn't prioritized over whatever was on over the air at the time, or vice versa. If you want to throw golf in that conversation or discussion as well. As far as ratings go, or just Olympic coverage goes, I think it's awesome just to turn on KTSM and just find any sort of sport going on. Like they've done a pretty good job of recapping earlier events and stuff like that. Like I tuned in late afternoon yesterday; they were showing the recap of the golf final and stuff. But to watch live Olympic coverage, yeah, I get it. You probably need the Peacock app or something like that.
That's what I mean. But again, I don't feel like it's too much money. I think that in today's world where everything costs a fortune, that's one of the better deals you have. Now, some people might say, "Well, I already have 6 other apps. What do I need another one for?" Just get it for a month and put a little calendar reminder to cancel it after the month, so you don't get charged a second month, and you're good. Or maybe, God forbid, you like it so much you want to keep it, which could also be another way to do it.
I think so, man. I mean, hey, I did it for the whole year for Peacock for me.
There you go.
Just take advantage of it now. Watch some movies after the fact, but it's been very accessible. I'd say that for watching all this Olympic coverage. By the way, YouTube TV does a great job of the multi-view, so if you have that on a streaming angle, you definitely have benefited off that.
Plus, you had SummerSlam on Saturday night, which was a lot of fun to watch on the Peacock app because they have all the WWE, those big premium live events, they call them now, PLEs. They used to be called pay-per-views, but you can't really call it a pay-per-view anymore when you spend $8 a month or whatever you spend. I think 13 is like the premium, and you get that as part of the deal. So they just call it a premium live event. And that was fun. Good show on Saturday night, so I enjoyed that too.
Our boy Sebastian's anxious and eager to talk about it. He was texting me through it, and I was like, "You're texting the wrong guy, my friend."
Oh, that's hilarious. So you're getting texted by Sebastian at length.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
That's good
stuff, man.
Michael, what about you? How was your weekend? What'd you end up doing?
It was good. I worked both days at that car wash on Fort Bliss from 9 to 4, Saturday and Sunday. But overall, it was a nice, chill weekend. On Saturday, I went to my grandparents' house after work, and we just enjoyed some Pirates baseball and the Olympics.
As somebody who works at a car wash, are you a big fan of the microfiber cloth to dry a vehicle after a wash?
Yes, I've seen the effects of people using it, and overall, I think it's well worth it. I've seen people that have used it, and they've been very happy with the results.
Okay, that's what I was curious about, because I know that drying a vehicle sometimes after the wash when there's might be a little water left on the car is important. So, yes, the microfiber is the way to go. All right.
It is. I recommend it.
Excellent. Hey, by the way, we're missing somebody today. Did you realize that Alberto Urueta is not here today?
Yeah, he's on his way. He texted breaking news. He's on his way. He's just a little late. So I'm so excited to have Alberto back today. I'll be honest. Out of everything I was looking forward to today, having basically a Dave Campbell's Texas football takeover between some of our guests today. But above everything else, I'm most looking forward to hearing from Alberto back on the show today.
So let's mention that because we have Carter Yates from TexasFootball.com. He's going to be joining us coming up here in about 10 minutes from now. And then Mike Craven, who was in town talking to Scotty Walden. By the way, that is on the featured. That is the featured story right now at TexasFootball.com, and it's free. It's behind the paywall, so you can enjoy that as well. That also, we'll have Mike Craven joining us live at 6 on the program. Oh, my apologies. The television just randomly turned on. That's kind of creepy, isn't it?
That's scary.
Yeah, you know what happened, right? They unplugged the entire thing, cable box, television, and all that. So then I rebooted it, and when I rebooted it, it just decided to turn on right now.
Oh, and then you get to be reminded by Alberto because you're using his famous controller.
I am. I can't wait for him to chew on it some more when he gets here in a little while, and he can continue to add to the already extensive bite marks on this thing. That'll be perfect. Now I get to watch a little Mets baseball. Mets playing the Cards. You've seen this is a makeup game. The Mets have the craziest road trip this week.
I've seen just the Mets' schedule as far as all the rainouts they've had. I mean, it's a product of where they play in particular, but this one wasn't due to their I guess home stadium. This is actually a Busch Stadium, Steve. Again, it just speaks to the Mets having a lot of makeup games throughout the season.
A ton, Adrian, a ton. In fact, they just finished a series in Anaheim against the Angels. Now, listen to this. They go St. Louis today for the one-game makeup, Denver tomorrow through Thursday against the Rockies. Then they got to go to Seattle through Sunday. What a crazy schedule that is.
They're like going basically all across the U.S. from this one right here.
Yeah.
By the way, Steve, what are your thoughts on the Phillies right now? They've just been playing terrible. Lost 8 of their last 10.
I don't understand it. I mean, that's one of the big shocks right now is the free fall from Philly. This kind of reminds me of the Yankees. A few weeks ago, the Yankees were in the midst of the worst slide. Yankee fans were questioning whether they could even make the playoffs. And then they get Garrett Cole back. They trade for Jazz Chisholm, and now they've been able to right the ship. But Philly kind of took over where the Yankees were. They had that dominant record, best in baseball, and now all of a sudden they can't find a way to win a ball game. So, yeah, you're 100% correct. They got to figure it out quick because tonight they're playing the Dodgers to start a series out in L.A.
I thought that, they had that division locked in. But now you can actually talk yourself into maybe the Braves could catch them out of the NL East. Maybe the Mets, an outside shot. I know they're probably closer to 10 games back from the Phillies, but still, I mean, it just tells you if Philadelphia continues to slide this way, maybe Mets or Braves are able to catch them.
Well, the good news is Zach Wheeler pitched a shutout yesterday, so they salvaged Game 3 against Seattle and won 6-0. So at least they have that to build on. And we'll see how they handle the Dodgers in this series. That'll be a lot of fun. And you're right about the Mets and the Braves. We'll see how those two continue to go. And by the way, congratulations, Blake Snell, with the first no-hitter of his career. Did it for the Giants over the weekend. Big performance. This was the first time Blake Snell has ever thrown 8 complete innings, let alone 9 and a no-hitter. So a big deal for him.
Yeah, good for Blake Snell. He struggled to start out the season for the Giants, and he was signed very late by the Giants in the early stages of free agency. Nobody was really interested in him, and he didn't get a call until I think a couple weeks before the season started. And it's nice to see him playing well again and revisiting those old days of him that we know.
You're right. So big storylines there. When we come back, Carter Yates, TexasFootball.com. He's going to talk about a profile he did on Cade McConnell, talk Miners football. He handled the preview out at TexasFootball.com as well. So Carter Yates right around the corner as we send it off to Charlie 1 for our first traffic update of the day.
What we have is a trouble spot on the west side, North Desert and Mesa. We have a stalled car that's on the right lane. But the main trouble spot right now is all the construction that's going on. For example, Montana westbound lanes at Wedgwood, that's right, in the McRae area. We have the right 2 lanes blocked from construction, so there's a lot of backup, a lot of slow-moving bumper-to-bumper traffic right there, Montana westbound lanes at Wedgwood. But then also Montana eastbound lanes, same area. You have 1 lane closed on the left, so a lot of congestion in that area. I'm talking Montana west, Montana east, that Wedgwood, McRae area. Just keep that in mind. Another closure that goes on, I-10 east of Vinton, left lane, take it away there. Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Rimcon, approaching 78 years in business. Tuesday through Sunday, not tonight, tomorrow. Tuesday through Sunday from 11 to 8, famous tortilla soup. Popular Mr. T specials, Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Rimcon. Charlie 1600, ESPN El Paso.
Saturday, August 10th, Speaking Rock presents Fuel.
hits, and more. Live and free on the Speaking Rock Outdoor stage.
All that shimmers in this world is sure to fade.
Saturday, August 10th, Fuel. Ages 21 and above. See Speaking Rock's Facebook for more info.
If you have the first overall pick, make sure you select Twin Peaks for your fantasy football draft party. Get a $50 bonus card for the commish and an additional $5 bonus card for every drafter.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
Are you ready to get back to your friends, back to the games, back to the fun? As Western Tech presents the Back to School Expo, Saturday, August 10th at Cielo Vista Mall.
Join KISS FM from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. tax-free Saturday for an opportunity to register to win one of 4 $500 scholarships thanks to El Paso Electric.
From T2Go T Energy, register to win one of 24 deluxe backpacks filled with school supplies.
Check out the Back to School fashion shows on the YMCA Performance Stage thanks to Laura's Productions. Plus from GECU, the Mascot Showcase.
Don't miss the cheer teams, the dance teams.
Sign up to win great prizes from Pinova Dental, our Back to School Prize 1010 dental sponsor, and an awesome coloring contest from Baby Tree Surrogacy. Prizes at all booths, vendors, and more. Lower level by Dillard's and by J.C. Penney. Full Back to School Expo details at kisselpaso.com.
Weather, uncorruptible yet mysterious. Its movement determined by the cosmos and nature as indiscriminate as it is life-giving. Here at ABC7, Doppler Dave Spielman puts his decades of experience to work, observing Mother Nature, studying her science to anticipate her track and craft the most accurate forecast you can trust for your property, your family's safety, and your peace of mind. Doppler Dave Spielman, the Borderlands Chief Meteorologist.
600 ESPN El Paso.
Welcome back, 20 past the hour as we continue here on Sports Talk. All right, I'm excited about the Dave Campbell's Texas football takeover today, and we start with Carter Yates. Carter is a writer for Dave Campbell's Texas football, and you can follow him on Twitter and X at Carter_Yates16. That's at Carter_Yates16. Carter, welcome aboard, and happy Monday. How you doing?
Doing well. I'm excited to be leading off here for the DTTF takeover. My senior writer, Mike Craven, should come in after I get on base and knock me in, hit and clean up for me.
It's going to be fantastic. We can't wait for that to happen either. And by the way, I got to ask you, I'm looking at your Twitter and X profile and that pinned article you wrote about Gary and Jeff Joseph, the father-son duo to win a state championship. You're seen in the background reading the magazine with like a zillion Texas football magazines behind you. Is that the archive library? And do you guys have like multiple copies of every Texas football that has ever been published?
Yeah, so that's the background of our studio shows that we do, the Republic of Football podcast every Tuesday. It's the coolest part of the office. It was the one that I was the most starstruck when I first came in there. Yes, multiple copies of every magazine, but makes for a great picture backdrop.
It sure does. That is terrific. Have you ever met anybody that has collected the entire run of Dave Campbell's Texas football magazines?
Oh, I've met people that have gotten close. I'm sure I'm missing some people out there who are screaming right now at their car radio saying they have it all. But I don't think I've met anyone that has every single magazine before, no.
Okay, I don't know about this town, but you never know. It's possible. I mean, Dave Campbell is a way of life for a lot of people, and Texas football is what it's all about, which takes us to the 2024 Texas Football Magazine. You handled the UTEP preview. I know Mike handled the Scotty Walden profile, which is on the front page, the dynamic lead at TexasFootball.com right now. But you also wrote about Caden McConnell. So you've been busy with UTEP. So has your colleague. And as you might imagine, a lot of Miner fans pretty pumped up with what UTEP's new head coach and staff can bring to the table.
Oh, yes, exactly. I mean, Scotty Walden's just come in and provided such a spark of energy. He's a total bottle rocket. And I think that's something that UTEP fans have been missing for a while. He refers to UTEP as a sleeping giant because it's a city of almost 2 million people or so, and there's no NFL team in this area. It's got one of the best facilities, stadiums in the Sun Bowl. And Scotty Walden's showing you what you can do when you put your nose to the grindstone on the recruiting trail. He signed the best class in Conference USA in 2 months on the job. It's been really impressive what he's done this offseason. It's kind of injecting some life into the program.
Meanwhile, you said under the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Take that UTEP is in rebuild mode. We agree with that. In fact, with all the excitement that we have and the city has, when we put together our Miner Talk podcast previewing the season, Adrian and I both went with a 4-8 record. Not to say that we think it's going to be a bad season. We think they're going to be fun to watch and bring some excitement to the table and be competitive and close, but the first 5 games are difficult. Their schedule softens up the last month of the season, but, I feel almost like you're right. There is going to be excitement. They are, but we have to still remember this is a rebuilding franchise, and it's so difficult to turn a team's fortune around from one year to the next, even though Scotty Walden is probably somebody that believes that they will be able to do just that here in year one.
Yeah, my take on UTEP is that the record in year one won't matter in the long run as much as the attitude they display during this football season, because you're right, it is going to be rough. I mean, that season opener against Nebraska is one of the toughest opening draws for a head coach, and that's not even to mention the home opener against Southern Utah. That's a salty FCS school, and that's one that could be tricky for the Miners, and if they lose that one, you could go onto a slide to open up that season. But the part of the schedule I'm really looking for UTEP to find wins at is when the Conference USA slate goes to those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, midweek type games, because 3 of the 4 teams they play in that span finish in the bottom 4 of the conference right there. So that's where I'd really look for Scotty Walden to pick up some wins. I think it's going to be a really exciting year with this. They've kind of branded both sides of the ball. The Blue Blaze offense is going to snap the football every 12 seconds, and the Orange Swarm defense. And I think they've got playmakers to give teams favored over them fits. But, I mean, I picked a 4-8 record in the magazine prediction just like y'all, and that was kind of searching. I had to search hard for 4 wins. So not to say you should sell all your UTEP stock if they don't get the 4 wins after this season, because it's just going to be a tough opening year. And that's how full rebuilds go.
Carter, to stay on the line of tempering expectations, I really liked your analysis of ceiling and floor, because it could really go both ways, or maybe right in the middle of that. It could go a lot of different ways, right? My thoughts, my question is, somebody like you covers a lot of college football. Do you know another historically bad program like this? I mean, you detail the fact that UTEP hasn't won a bowl game since 1967. UTEP fans here in El Paso are constantly reminded by this, and the fact that haven't had a lot of success in bowl games or even going to bowl games or having any winning seasons since 67. Do you have any program you can compare UTEP to that's just had such historic struggles in this sport?
I mean, I think you could go to, in Texas, a program like Rice maybe. Now, I know Rice has won conference championships before, but especially in the new era of college football, it's just really tough sometimes for a school as academically prestigious as Rice in the Houston area with the Houston Cougars there, the Houston Texans there. I think that's kind of a school I would compare to in terms of on-the-field results, but where UTEP and Rice differ is, like I've said in the opener here, I mean, UTEP is the only team in town, the only show in town. I think they got better facilities than Rice. I don't think they face some of those insane academic barriers that the Rice University teams face, and I think that's why you always look at UTEP and think this is a sleeping giant. Like, this could be woken up here. And I think Scotty Walden does have the energy to do that in the long run. But you just look at the ceiling and floor I put in the magazine. I think the ceiling, and that's the absolute highest max ceiling, was like 7-5 for me. It's just not going to happen in year one.
Yeah, I mean, I think 7-5 is fair. What was the floor? What'd you put for the floor?
Floor is 1-11, guys. I mean, it could.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing with UTEP, and I'm so excited to watch this Blue Blaze offense. I think Scotty Walden is an offensive guru. He doesn't even use playbooks, guys, because he goes that fast, but that doesn't mean the offense isn't complicated, and they can give teams favored over them fits. What I do get worried about, though, is if you're snapping the football every 12 seconds and you're going 3 and out, really hanging the defense out to dry there. And Scotty Walden's teams in his 4 years at Austin Peay, they didn't win the time of possession battle ever. Now, they were putting up a lot of points, but I can't foresee the Austin Peay teams of high offensive outputs being exactly the same going into UTEP, especially because it's a lot of the same guys. I mean, I look at this offense, and their 2 best offensive linemen I can see right now, Brendan Smith and Isaiah Wright, are both Austin Peay transfers. Javon Jackson, the running back, was fantastic at Austin Peay. How does that translate to Conference USA ball? And then, obviously, I wrote a feature on him earlier in this offseason, but the wide receiver Trey Goodman, who was just a really impressive guy to talk to. I'm sure y'all have talked to him at media days like that. Just really good head on his shoulders. I'm excited to see what he does, but I think my big question is, one, the time of possession battles for this UTEP offense, but also how do the trenches really translate from FCS football to Group of 5 football, because it is a big jump. We've seen in the past, like a Texas State wide receiver, Joey Hobart, go from Southern Utah to Texas State and tear it up, but that's a skill position player. Right. It's much harder on the line of scrimmage, like we've seen at Sam Houston when they were winning FCS national championships. And then last year they go 4-8 in Conference USA because their whole offensive line just jumped up from FCS to Group of 5. So those are kind of my big questions right now for this team.
And that's what we've talked about too, Adrian, because just like you heard from Carter, we know that this is a smaller team than we've seen in the past. Smaller up front, smaller in the skill positions. And, you know, one of the things Dana Dimel built was a massive team. Didn't produce the wins ultimately over the 6 years the way Miner fans did, but now you wonder, smaller, faster, and how will that work against opposing teams?
Yeah, it's real interesting because Carter, when Dana Dimel came to UTEP 2018, their team size-wise really resembles what we're seeing right now. Like, they were a smaller team those first 2 seasons, 2018, 2019, and look at the records those 2 seasons. They combined 2 seasons for just 2 wins, and I worry about what they'll look like in the trenches as well. Offensively, aside from just the trenches, do you think that they can hang with everybody else skill position wise, or even the quarterback, which you detailed as well? It's a battle that they're going through right here in fall camp.
Yeah, I'll start with the quarterback position because we did do a story on Cade McConnell as part of our Lone Star 50 series. I think it's been a remarkable story for Cade. I mean, last year he goes from 4th string to starter for that midweek game against FIU, and really just kind of, I mean, like Scotty Walden's done this offseason at UTEP, he really injected a jolt of energy into this UTEP offense and has positioned himself where he could be like the QB1 of the future. Now, what I've heard out of minor camp is that it is an open competition right now between McConnell and Skylar Locklear. I think Locklear is the total question mark for me. I don't really know much about his game. I don't know if he played that much at Austin Peay. What I see from Cade McConnell is he's a guy who's a very heady football player. I mean, his dad was a quarterback at East Carolina. That's why he wears that quarterback pirate bandana under his helmet. I think he's done a really good job in spring camp. He's able to diagnose the defensive coverage right away and make snap decisions. And his mind allows the game to slow down for him, which is something you really need if you're going to snap the football every 12 seconds. You need a quarterback whose mind will slow it down. I think Cade McConnell can be like maybe not a first-team all-conference USA type quarterback, but I think he could put up some numbers in this offense and be plenty fine. Javon Jackson is one of the most intriguing running backs in the conference right now. I mean, he tore it up at Austin Peay. I'm excited to see what he can do. The wide receiver position, outside of Trey Goodman, I know Amari White's one of the lone returners on this team, and they talked very highly of him outside of spring camp. But I don't see outside Trey Goodman just that game breaker type wide receiver. And not saying that won't emerge. I just don't know if I see it just yet.
More with Carter Yates as we continue here on Sports Talk. But first, right back to Michael Plundo, standing by across the glass with this bottom of the hour Sports Center update.
Michael Plundo here with your bottom of the hour ESPN Sports Center update. Let's get to it. An extension out in Kansas City as the Chiefs make Harrison Butker the NFL's top paid kicker. That's right. The Kansas City Chiefs have signed Harrison Butker to a contract extension that will make him the NFL's highest paid kicker. The extension is for 4 years and $25.5 million with $17 million guaranteed. The sources said at $6.5 million per year, Butker will become more than the previously highest paid kickers, which were the Ravens' Justin Tucker and the Eagles' Jake Elliott, who both averaged $6 million per season on their contracts. The deal ties Butker to the Chiefs through the 2028 season, as he was scheduled to make $3.5 million in the final season of the 5-year contract he signed with the Chiefs back in 2019. Let's get out to some Olympics action here as Simone Biles finishes the Olympics with silver in floor exercise. That's right. American gymnast Simone Biles didn't get the golden send-off she sought after. Biles earned silver in the floor exercise finals on Monday, her 4th medal in Paris and 11th Olympic medal overall, after a routine that included a couple of costly steps out of bounds. Brazil's Rebeca Andrade became the first gymnast to beat Biles in a floor final in a major international competition, posting a score of 14.166 that finished just ahead of Biles at 14.133. Let's get out to your baseball scoreboard here. We got a plethora of games to go over here as the Phillies, a team that's struggling as of late, is looking to get back on track as they'll take on the Dodgers later tonight. That game will be out in LA for you at 6:10. And right now we got the Mets with the 2-0 lead over the Cardinals, a makeup series from May. That's a look at your ESPN Sports Center update. I'm Michael Plundo.
All right, Michael, appreciate that. Again, Carter Yates wrote about the minors for the Dave Campbell's Texas Football 2024 magazine. He's got a story up on Caden McConnell as well as part of the 50 key players for the state of Texas here in college ball. So a lot of good content talking on our Takeover, because later in the show, Mike Craven, who wrote about Scotty today, it's on the front page at TexasFootball.com. He'll join us in the 6 o'clock hour to discuss his takeaways from not only getting a chance to sit down with Scotty, but going to eat at Kiki's, which he put in the article. Always like it anytime we get a food plug in during the show. Which reminds me, Carter, have you been to El Paso before, and have you parlayed a trip to one of our Mexican establishments into your UTEP coverage?
I have unfortunately not been to El Paso before, and reading Mike Craven's story, I was just picturing Kiki's food in my mind. I will definitely be making a trip out to El Paso here in the near future to pay a visit.
There you go. Good. I'm excited about that because you'll enjoy it when you come out. When we talked about this team and you mentioned the pace and really, what we're expecting to see, we've said often that defense could be more important than offense even, because if they're going to lose the time of possession for most games, that defense has to be in even better condition physically than the offense needs to in order to, play potentially 35 to even 40 minutes a game if that's what it's going to come down to.
Mm-hmm. And I think when we talked about Scotty Walden's team being a little bit smaller, you see that on the defensive side of the ball, which should theoretically make them more conditioned and make them more able to play longer time of possession games. But I see, like, at linebacker, Trey Dunson, he's a former FCS nickelback, now playing middle linebacker in the field for the UTEP Miners. So I have some questions about how that will work out, not because I don't know how good of a football player Trey is, but just like how you go from FCS nickelback to group of 5 middle linebacker. I think really where it starts and ends with UTEP is Maurice Westmoreland. And when I talked to the coaching staff at the spring football visit. They're not giving away any trade secrets, of course, but they did say you could kind of expect Maurice to be a little bit more multiple than he was in years past. So maybe dropping back a little bit into coverage, rushing the passer, which is what he's going to make some money in the NFL potentially doing one day. I know Trey Goodman talked to me about Maurice making a one-handed interception one time in practice that just had him shocked. So he's the star of the team. I really like the secondary pieces. Corey Chapman had got another Austin Peay guy. Can you sense a trend here? Who they are really high on. I love A.J. Odoms was a huge returnee for them from the previous regime. He was another one of our top 50 most important players going into the year. I would really just say the linebacker and interior defensive tackle positions are the biggest question marks for me. And really, those are some of the most important parts of a 3-3-5 defense. And we've seen places like North Texas in the state, if you don't figure out the interior tackles, you get run on really easily.
Carter, I want to ask more about the 3-3-5, just in your experience, because seeing it at UTEP, I think the last time UTEP actually ran a 3-3-5 was back in 2018, 2019, when defensively they were actually pretty strong despite their record. They were 1-11 both those seasons, like I mentioned. Your thoughts on just the 3-3-5 scheme? What do fans need to expect, and what should we expect here for watching UTEP's defense this year?
Man, it was a really tough year for the 3-3-5 last year in the state of Texas. North Texas, Eric Morris came in and had the number one offense in the American Athletic Conference and was dead last in rush defense with the 3-3-5. Really what this got famous from was the Iowa State teams in the mid-2010s where you go to blackout game in Ames and that 3-3-5 would give defensive fits, and that's where Eric Morris got it from. TCU, another program last year that just had to fire their defensive coordinator, Joe Gillespie, because they were running the 3-3-5. It wasn't really working. That's not to say it won't work at UTEP, but the problem with this defense is interior defensive linemen are the hardest position to come by. That's why you see at TCU, Dominic Williams is transferring from TCU to Oklahoma at the end of spring football practice. They're so in demand. And a 3-3-5 defense, you need three big defensive tackles instead of just two, like in a 4-down front where those two edge pieces can be more hybrid-type players. What really you need in the 3-3-5 is secondary players, safeties, cornerbacks who can come stick their nose in the run game. And that's where a team like North Texas is banking on. They got some Texas transfers and Iowa State transfers in the secondary in lieu of more defensive tackle players so they can come up and make stops in the run game. That's what you'll need to see from UTEP is how active are these secondary guys coming up and stopping the run? Because if they can play big, then this defense will work great. But if they don't, there'll be some open holes for those opposing running backs, and they'll be running a long way.
What about quarterback sacks and pressures, generally speaking, with that kind of a defense? Do we see that also take place, or do 3-3-5 sometimes have difficulty trying to get to the quarterback?
No, I think 3-3-5 teams generally are able to get to the quarterback because they can disguise the blitzes so well. And that's what I'm really stoked to see about Maurice Westmoreland. Like, if you start getting him on stunts and wraparounds and he starts getting to play out in space a little more, taking the offensive line by surprise, I mean, watch out for what he can do in the backfield. The one thing that you got to make sure is that your best pass rusher in a 3-3-5 has to almost be like one of those off-ball linebackers. Because what happened last year at North Texas, they took their best off defensive pass rusher in the outside linebacker, Mason Richards, and moved him to a 3 technique, which was basically he was a 255-pound defensive tackle getting swallowed up by opposing offensive tackles. I don't think they're going to do that with Maurice Westmoreland, so that's why I have positive vibes about this 3-3-5 defense. But long answer short, yes, you can expect a lot of pressure on the quarterback because they disguise the blitzes so well.
Carter, you praised the resources UTEP has, and you talked about the Sun Bowl, just compared to other teams, who might be at the G5 in the state of Texas, and just comparing them to the Miners and stuff like that. In your opinion, is UTEP in the right conference in CUSA? Just knowing where they're at and all of that, listeners over here and fans of UTEP will think that the Miners should be in the Mountain West, and geographically, Conference USA makes absolutely no sense. But in your perspective, just based on resources and what UTEP has and doesn't have, is UTEP in the right conference right now?
Well, geographically, what conference does make sense? I mean, with this new way of college football, the American Athletic Conference is coast to coast. The ACC has Atlantic Coast Conference with 2 Pacific Coast teams. I mean, yeah, maybe theoretically the Mountain West would be better for UTEP geographic-wise, but I don't see any of that right now in college football, really. I do think Conference USA is a good spot for UTEP. I do think that they have one of the best group of 5 stadiums, a very underrated stadium. But I think that they don't have that NIL budget to really be up into like a Power 4 rank, excuse me. That's still weird to say for me, Power 5 to Power 4.
Well, I wouldn't argue with that. Matter of fact, other than Liberty, I don't know who in this conference does have any kind of money in that department that really compares.
No, yeah, I think Conference USA is a good spot for UTEP, and I think it could be a really fun conference. I really like what they do with the midweek games. That was one of my favorite wrinkles in college football last year was a Wednesday night Conference USA game, getting to watch Texas programs like Sam Houston and UTEP play. I really think what I wrote in the magazine preview about Conference USA is that they found their identity in that a lot of times they're the conference that's like a gateway into Division I football for FCS powers. You saw it with Sam Houston. You see it with Missouri State now, Kennesaw State coming in. And I know UTEP wasn't an FCS power, but these are teams that, provide really competitive games.
Happy you like midweek games. We're not as fond of them as you are, but that's good. At least you're happy, Carter. That's all right. All right.
Well, I know I can see where the game day atmosphere might be a little tough. I'm talking about just sitting watching on TV. I kind of like it.
Follow Carter Yates on Twitter and X at Carter_Yates16. Check out his great work at TexasFootball.com and the 2024 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Enjoyed the conversation, Carter. Thanks for getting us started on the Dave Campbell's Takeover today. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, so from Carter Yates over to KVIA News. It's next right here, Sports Talk 600 ESPN El Paso.
I'm ABC7's Paul Cicala. Happy Monday, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Ciudad Juarez. Here's your top stories on ESPN El Paso for Monday, August 5th, 2024. A Socorro man is being charged with murdering his neighbor and attempting to hide the victim's body. 39-year-old Oscar Rodriguez was arrested for the murder of 36-year-old Joel Olguin, and we are now learning about the details of the arrest. According to an affidavit filed by the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, Socorro police officers were alerted of a possible homicide on Thursday. The person who reported the murder met with officers and told them when he arrived home Thursday, Rodriguez told him he had gotten into an argument with Olguin and killed him. Rodriguez reportedly said he shot Olguin in the chest. Rodriguez then allegedly put Olguin's body in the bed of a truck covered by a piece of carpet and drove away. Rodriguez agreed to show detectives where Olguin's body was, and detectives drove him to the desert area off of I-10 and Fabens, where they found the body. With the ongoing protests and events in Venezuela due to recent election results, local migrant shelters are reacting to the impacts these actions have had here on the border. Now migrants who are in shelters right across the El Paso border in Ciudad Juarez are concerned for their families that stayed there. With President Nicolás Maduro set to continue as president of Venezuela, protests and violent events continue to rise in that country. Heriberto Perez will have more on ABC7 in our later newscasts. Meanwhile, Doppler Dave from ABC7 is saying that the temperatures this week will range from highs between 100 and 104 degrees. There's only a slight chance for a storm, and we're talking 10% or less through Wednesday. There'll be a bit better chances later in the week and into the weekend. So as for now, stay cool, my friends, and have a positive, productive beginning of your week filled with lots of joy. I'm ABC7's Paul Cicala for 600 ESPN El Paso.
So Metroplex, what we have right now is some crashes to deal with. First of all, on the east side, it's a busy intersection here. Joe Battle and Montwood, we have a crash. PD going to that, not PD controlled. Just happened, Joe Battle and Montwood. Also, on the west side, Artcraft and North Desert, we have a crash. Again, this one, not PD controlled yet. And then let's go to the far east side, where we have a minor accident working here. That's Edgewear and Tim Floyd on a minor accident. So caution here. But a lot of congestion here. Montana westbound lanes at Wedgwood, that McRae area. Right, 2 lanes are blocked there for construction. A lot of slowdown right here. Slow down on the east side. Montana East in that area. That has one-lane block there, so a lot of congestion there. Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Remcon, approaching 78 years in business. Famous tortilla soup, Tuesday through Sunday, not tonight, tomorrow, 11 to 8. Popular Mr. T specials, Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Remcon, Charlie 1600, ESPN El Paso.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks hand-stretched flatbreads are coming in hot. Close out your night with a win. Our favorite flatbreads are available during late-night hours for a steal. Get here and score one for just $8 from 10 p.m. to close Sunday through Thursday.
Hi, I'm Cesar Milan. People are always commenting on how happy and healthy my dogs are. One of the reasons is the food my dogs eat.
Introducing Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food.
I have been feeding them Dr. Marty's freeze-dried raw formula for years. And this food is a big part of why their jaws are more flexible, their teeth are cleaner, and their coats shinier, and why they seem more youthful and playful.
And dog parents across the U.S. are loving it.
My dog Hazel is a 10-and-a-half-year-old golden retriever, and ever since I've been feeding her Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend food, she is like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
We're so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee. And for a limited time, save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of Cod Krispies. They're wild-caught, ultra-crunchy cod skin treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511 today. All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle. Unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Steve Kaplowitz, and 600 ESPN El Paso has a great way for you to enjoy Sports Talk on demand. Download our show by subscribing to the free 600 ESPN El Paso podcasts on your Apple or Google Play device. After that, you can enjoy the best of Sports Talk each day, delivered commercial-free to your phone or tablet. That's right, all the best calls, interviews, and insight with the touch of a button, so you never miss a moment. 600 ESPN El Paso podcasts.
This week, save $25 on a $50 dining deal at Eloise, 126 Shadow Mountain. Food, coffee, cocktails, and conversation in a cozy European-inspired atmosphere. Go to seizethedeal.com El Paso and enjoy a dining experience. 50 for $25 at Eloise while they last. Additional dining deals include GNR's Mexican restaurant, Flips in the Upper Valley, plus Chelitos, the greatest hamburgers in El Paso. Dining deals. Get yours now at seizethedeal.com El Paso.
Hi, this is Harry Douglas. Join me and Freddie Coleman weekdays from 1 to 4 on 600. ESPN El Paso, the home of UTEP Sports.
All right, back here on Sports Talk. Oh, it's good to have Alberto Dueta back with us. It's been a week. Actually, no, he was there for the Cade McConnell farewell show last week. Other than that, he spent the whole week on the KLAQ Morning Show. And now you come back. Hey, first time you're back with us since the whole biting the remote scandal has started to really make waves around our show. And then, of course, Buzz on the Q. And all I can tell you is, man, That really was pretty funny and entertaining. And, I got to give you credit, give you props. Despite the fact that you really started to chew on that thing, you fessed up to it and admitted you did it. So, you know what? You're a bigger man than most. Good for you.
Yeah, I can't even. When things come up chewed, I have to own up to it because one thing about me is you'll see me with things that don't go in my mouth. So I can't deny that it's me when it's me.
How about your laptop? You ever chewed the laptop?
No, my phone's the one that gets the most.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you chew on the
it
case?
on hand at all times, yes.
But you don't chew on the actual. Okay. But you don't actually chew on the phone itself, just the case.
No.
You bite the case. You haven't bit the microphone, have you? Like, you haven't started going to that town or anything like that.
Too much metal.
Too much metal. What about the foam pad? You could chew that up pretty good if you wanted to.
Foam's not really what you want to go for.
Yeah.
It's not really a prime chewing material.
Got it. Michael Plundo's here with us as well today. Michael, any questions you have for Alberto regarding all this biting that's going on around here?
Where did this chewing habit come from, and how long has this been a thing for?
That's a great question. You know what? You know where it started? Bottle caps. Big bottle cap chewer.
You didn't cut yourself on those bottle caps?
In my mouth?
Yeah. Like, you're not talking about the metal ones on the beer bottles. You're talking about just like the plastic ones? Oh, okay.
So they were good for that. They were good for that.
Why don't you just chew gum?
The thing is, and that's a great question. The reason I don't like gum is because you'll chew it for like 5 minutes and then it's out of flavor and it's just like, I'm chewing this thing in my mouth. I want to throw it away.
Yeah, but there's some gum that'll last you more than 5 minutes. You can at least get a half an hour out of it before it gets.
The only gum that I like is the stringy one, the baseball one.
Big League Chew.
Yes, that one's good.
That stuff loses its flavor after 5 minutes. Yeah,
but it's good. I like the grape.
So you like the grape shredded Big League Chew?
Yeah.
You don't like mint gum, like you put that in there and no, huh? Okay. By the way, has your laugh always been that high pitch?
It's when I'm really, really laughing.
Okay,
really,
so
like when you catch me off guard, then I really laugh. Like,
then you've got the high pitched laugh.
Yeah. Sometimes, unfortunately.
That's fine. Because I seem to recall that for all the times you made me laugh during your dating tips that we did with you and Cade, I don't ever recall that high a pitch. Like, you were laughing, but nothing like that. That was a new level.
Yeah, it was a whole other level.
That was organic.
It was.
You have people on the queue like requesting it.
They're like, do the laugh, do the laugh.
Yeah.
I'm sure they love it. They love Joanna's. They love mine.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to wonder, like, can we ever do could you ever do like a promotion at the Chihuahuas, maybe Alberto Bite Night, and something that involves you and Chew? Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
That would be great. That'd be great.
I might still have a couple of the old Chihuahuas Chew toys from the first season or two that's stored away. If I find one of those that were they were meant for dogs, would you like one just to gnaw on during the show? Would that be good for you?
It's got to be the right shape, the right size.
Right texture?
The right texture. It's got to be the right thing to put in your mouth. Yeah, it's not about just whatever. My phone case, sometimes I'll have to change phone cases because I'll just destroy them.
Yeah. Tough stuff, man. Tough stuff.
I missed you, Alberto. It was a long week without you.
I bet.
It really was. But you know what? He's back. And hour 2 is next. Stay with us. Sports Talk continues. 600 ESPN El Paso.
Harry Douglas here. Coming up next is Sports Talk with Cappy and Adrian on 600 ESPN El Paso.
Came dancing to my door. Last night, a little angel came pumping.
From the 600 ESPN El Paso River Oaks Property Schoolyard Sports Studio, here's Steve Kaplowitz and Adrian Broadus.
All right, speaking of Schoolyard Sports and River Oaks Properties, they sponsor our studio. We're working on getting Mr. Schoolyard Sports himself back to the show this week, Lane Frank. Excited about that. Excited about the fact that we are taking Sports Talk on the road this Thursday, and we are going to be broadcasting the program on location from, get this, Elephant Ranch as part of a tequila unveiling with New Mexico State and our pal Mario Mocha. So we'll have the show live from Cruces on Thursday from 4 to 6. We'll have plenty of guests. They've got their new tequila line that's going to be dropping that day. So very excited about that. And along those lines, Adrian, because I know Thursday's show is going to be fantastic. We've gone up the last couple of spring games for New Mexico State. We've never been there for one of their new, food or beverage drops that they've had over the years. So this will be first for us. But also, I saw the fact that UTEP somehow there is they're selling them now in El Paso, an orange Bud Light 30-pack with the UTEP logo. They're orange Bud Light cans.
Yeah, I saw a picture, Locomotive Minor, Lutep Minor, whatever we're calling him. He sent it over to me. Big shout out to Luis, and for what he was sending over. I had never seen these before. He actually sent me the message with the orange can. Bud Light cans, Steve, and I thought those were pretty cool. But man, I can't wait to go out to Las Cruces. It's always a great trip when we go out to see the great friends over there with New Mexico State. And hey, this will be our primer, Steve. I'm excited. We're going to kind of get an accelerated primer, talk a little, soccer, volleyball, basketball, and of course football as they gear up for the season.
Yeah, I believe Coach Sanchez, they're working on bringing him over there, so that'll be fun, and we might even get Jason Hooten there as well. I don't know anything about the men's basketball season. Do you? I mean, none of this team. No.
No, but I do know that they have a talented roster, Steve. I do know that they had some significant additions in the offseason, and I do know that Jason Hooten wants to have a much better season this year compared to last year.
I'm sure. So that is coming up on Thursday from 4 to 6. Just looking forward to taking the Traveling Road Show out there and be part of an area. Listen, I love Cruces. I love going there, and I love visiting some places that, we don't always get a chance to visit. Thanks to dining deals, we've had that opportunity to go to, to Double Eagle, El Hacienda de Mesilla. Those places have been great. I have never been to Elephant Ranch before. So, Adrian, that is something that I'm really excited about.
Me too, man. I mean, now we gotta give a big shout out to Mario Mocha for taking us all across Las Cruces for some of these different events over the years. It's been great stuff, and also across the campus of New Mexico State. So, both on and off campus, it's good to be a part of what they want to do.
Yeah, it's so true. 505-6009, our telephone number. 5 Points Guy gets in on the show. He believes that there should be bike night at the park with the Alberto theme for Southwest University Park. By the way, should we do bike night for baseball, soccer, boxing? Lots of opportunities because remember, Mike Tyson made that famous. So what do you think we should do as far as bike night goes for you?
I think... why not one for one for all?
What do you want to do? You want to do all sports?
You get one at the Locos game and one at the Chihuahuas game.
Oh, so you want to do them all? Okay.
Just those two.
That sounds like fun.
I feel like a dentist could sponsor that, Alberto. That would be a pretty cool thing,
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. That's another thing. What if you ended up getting if you got a mouth guard? Do you think that would help you from biting? Because then you could just chew on the mouth guard the way, think about just Steph Curry and what he's done. Is that possibly the solution to this whole thing?
No, I think it would really work. And then obviously the mouthpiece would prevent me from biting things. And then when I get really worked up and really angry, I could take it out of my mouth and throw it. That way people know that I'm angry.
Do you grind your teeth?
No, I don't think so. I hope not.
You should ask your dentist next time. Do I grind my teeth? They'll be able to tell right away if you do it in the evenings or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
While you sleep.
This is, again, you're right. Your dentist would be able to tell you that. That's for sure. So, but the pens, I've seen the pens, and you do some damage on those pens.
Yes. Which I keep forgetting to go to the Dollar General to get some new pens.
Do you have a straw right now in your little drink cup? Yeah. Is that to bite on too, or is that just because you have a straw there?
Another thing I bite a lot: straws.
Straws.
Yeah. But the thing is, they break down in your mouth all weird.
Have you ever broke something that you really like because you started biting it, didn't even realize it, and you bit it so hard you broke it?
That's a good question. I bit it so hard I broke it. Maybe not for sure just broke it, but probably for sure left marks on it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, dude, obviously... Or, no, this is what happens to me a lot, and you're going to get a kick out of this, I'll know. People will lend me pens, and then that pen will immediately end up in my mouth, right in front of them, too, and I'm like, oh, chucks. You get me? Like, because it's just an instinct now to put things in my mouth that are in my hand.
So somebody... So if somebody lends you something, you'll sometimes immediately revert to putting it in your mouth without even thinking about
Almost
it.
Immediately, yes. And then I'm like, oh, I put this pen in my mouth, it's not even mine.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll be like, dude, that's my pen.
Yeah, I've been warned on lending you pens. So people have told me because I sometimes I have like nice pens and I just can't do that. I can't do that. So it makes a lot of sense. I don't know. All right. Well, I was just kind of curious with this whole biting thing, and I mean, ever since you were a kid, you've been like this.
Yeah. I mean, I did, like I said, I stopped chewing bottle caps because those are, hard, and I would get them all throughout it would touch all my teeth, and so all my teeth would get damaged. But now I try to just not put things in my mouth.
Did you suck your thumb as a kid?
No, my little brother did though.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Big thumb sucker.
Yeah, I was just curious about that. Just the whole, oral fixation thing. If that started when you were little. Yeah, I got you. 9 past the hour as we continue. 505-6009. Adrian, I'm out, man. I'm done. Yeah. I've exhausted this topic. I've tried to get a little more background into Alberto's biting history, and I feel like I've learned a little more about him, but I feel like we're okay right now. We know what we need to and not do. Keep things out of his family. Keep it away from him so he doesn't bite him. But at the same time, he's very free in discussing how that goes.
So I feel like this one, we're going to have to tell the story over and over and over and over again. And I think that's okay. I think this is a good story that can live on for multiple times. I think, people like, I feel like people like Bernie Olivas will have a good kick out of this one here in the near future when we start doing the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl watch. This one will be relived over and over on this show.
I'm sure it will. So I haven't, I could go in certain areas, but I'm not. I'm going to kind of let it die and let it end at 10 past the hour as we continue here on SportsTalk. You've been watching a lot of Olympic coverage.
I tried to. I'm a big swimmer.
Are you?
Yeah, I grew up swimming, so I like to watch swimming, and I'm a great swimmer even now to this day. So yeah, I enjoy watching swimming. It's one of my favorite ones.
Interesting. So did you swim in high school?
No, my sister did.
Well, if you were a great swimmer, how did you not swim while you were in high school?
Well, I'm a great swimmer now. I didn't like it back when I was a little kid.
Oh, so you've gotten better as you've gotten older.
Well, a combination of you retain the skills that you learned when you were a kid because you're competing, right? So your goal is to get faster. So you retain a lot of those skills, and then when you just compare yourself up to people who are just, how do I explain it? Weekend swimmers. You kick them out of the water any day because your technique outweighs their abilities.
What's your best stroke? Freestyle, backstroke, butterfly? What are you?
I think freestyle because that's just the easiest. It's your bread and butter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to get DQ'd when you're doing butterfly, when you're doing backstroke, when you're doing breaststroke. So.
Do you like to swim just for exercise? We go in a pool and just start doing laps just to get in shape?
When I was at UTEP, yes, they have a pool. You can go there. I used to go swim there, but I haven't done that in a while. I do get bored too. You can't listen to music. You're just sitting there doing laps. By the third lap, I'm like, this is so boring. There's not even a TV. You're just in there.
Have they invented a waterproof earbuds where you can put them on while you're doing laps and listen to, let's say, music off your phone that will keep you entertained with the music while you're swimming? Do they have that, or is that not possible?
I think that it is possible. I think I don't know the actual brand, but I think they do have these.
Something that you can just keep in your ears, swim. I mean, even waterproof headphones that maybe have a good seal on them and don't, and you can. That's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, JBL. JBL actually makes them.
Do they really?
Interesting.
Maybe that's a good birthday gift for you. There you go.
Get those.
When's your birthday?
My birthday is on Day of the Dead, November 2nd.
Oh, okay. We got a little time. We'll see what we can do there. All right. Let's say hello to Cade McConnell. He's calling in today. It's his day off. And apparently, from what I understand, Cade, who had his farewell show last week, is already in Sports Talk withdrawals. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
I mean, I couldn't help myself, Steve. I had to get back on the show at some point, and today is the off day, so I actually have a moment to get on the phone and talk with you guys.
Good. Well, first off, were you even aware of Alberto's biting issues prior to calling in today, or is that news to you?
That's completely news to me.
Okay.
This is what we need to spend time with Cade about. Actually, he'll get a kick out of this.
Yeah, he bit our cable remote control.
What?
Oh, yeah. Bite marks all over the front of the Spectrum cable remote control.
Oh, no. Alberto.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, Your Honor.
No, come on, go ahead. You can admit it. Now you can tell him.
It was me, Your Honor.
Yeah, and Cade, Alberto admitted to having a long history of biting things. He bites his phone all the time and, remotes and pens and everything else, and he's just told us he's a biter.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's news to me.
There you go. So the next time you throw him a football, be careful. He might start eating it. So you don't want to do that. That's for sure. Hey, speaking of football, how's the first week of camp been for you?
Oh, my gosh. I couldn't be more happy with how everything's gone. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's gone on in this last week, and we had a night practice last night. We moved practice back in the evening. We had it at 7 o'clock last night, and it was our best one yet. I mean, the energy was through the roof. The offense was connecting on plays all over the field. There was a good back-and-forth nature with the defense. I mean, it was awesome.
So is it safe to say that a week into practice, everybody is getting more and more comfortable on both sides of the ball with the new system?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of install and things going in on both sides, so there's a learning curve to it just because, coming in with the new coaches into spring, you kind of, want to get your base down. You want to get your foundational stuff implemented into the offenses and the defenses. But then after that, right, you just want to continue to add the more complexities into the offense. So that part of it is still a little bit in the learning phase. But the other parts of it, like the way we do things and how practice is supposed to go and finding the rhythm of this offense and defense, I mean, that is really, really taking strides at this point. And so it's safe to say that, there's a lot of things clicking right now. It's starting to become mastery.
Well, I'll say this. We really do feel like both sides of the ball, this is a rhythm system. It's the rhythm on the offense and definitely rhythm on the defensive side. And not to say play calling isn't important. I'm sure that as you get deeper into camp, they'll continue to expand the playbook more and more, and you'll pick up more things. But right now, I would say probably picking up pace, rhythm, and tempo, that's got to be the biggest thing that the coaching staff wants from this club.
No doubt. 100%. That's exactly what they want. They want to see guys continue to learn. They want to see guys that are trying to do the right things, and they want to see everyone take that step in embodying the culture and in taking everything that we're doing in our meetings and then, take that out onto the field and improve it, right? For the young guys, it's learning what's been, going on in the meetings and then applying that to the field. And for the older guys that have maybe been there or a little more experienced, it's about taking that and showing that you can do it at the highest level.
Give us some names on defense who are impressing you, and you're like, man, I can't stand going up against this guy.
Well, first of all, I mean, there was multiple times last night where I was like, Maurice Westmoreland, can you please get out of my face and let me throw the football in peace? And that's no surprise with Mo. But maybe some other guys, that have shocked me. A.J. Odoms and Dylan Williams, in the secondary. Like, they've done really well in disguising certain things or, keeping me on my toes and making it difficult. They definitely have me second-guessing things. And then also Jalen Shelton. Jalen Shelton, cornerback, he's done a fantastic job when he's out there covering a guy one-on-one. He's really, really good at it. And so there's been multiple times where I've thought, hey, I might have to think twice about going to his side when he's in one-on-one coverage over there. So those guys have really impressed me with the way they've done things.
I have a lot of other questions on football. I have questions on your offense. I have questions on, your trenches and what we could see from the offensive line. But before I ask any of that, advice for Alberto on the biting. We need it from you, Kate.
Oh, we're going back to the chewing and the biting right now. This is getting rough. All right, what do you have?
Okay. I have never been anybody that I've never done that before, so I don't know how to stop it. But do we need to put I've never bitten my nails or anything like that. But if it's an oral fixation thing, Alberto, can we get you some toothpicks or something to chew on or something that's like healthy or something like that maybe wouldn't be a remote cord or anything technological in the studio?
Yeah, we need to figure something out. Maybe some sunflower seeds or something like that.
I could see you as a toothpick guy.
Or a toothpick guy, yeah. Maybe a toothpick, a forever in my mouth toothpick.
A toothpick guy. Interesting. Kind of like Razor Ramon.
Kind of.
Yeah. Except you'll eat it instead of shooting at somebody.
You know what, Steve? There used to be these things. Do you guys? I don't know if they have them in Texas or not. Do they have Play It Again Sports in Texas?
They did. It was in Cruces, and they just closed it.
Gotcha. Well, I remember back home in California at Play It Again Sports when I was younger, probably like 10 years old. They used to have these things. I don't remember exactly what they were called. We called them flavor sticks, and they were like rubber, like a mouthpiece, but they came in like a little jar or a bag or whatever, and it was just a rubber stick. Like think of a popsicle stick, but a little shorter, and it was rubber, and they had flavor in them. So you could literally just put them in your mouth and chew on them, and you get just a little bit of flavor for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or however long, you kind of sucked on it or chewed on it. But that would be like the perfect oral fixation thing for Alberto.
You know what? That sounds like a great idea. Chew sticks or flavor sticks? What'd you say?
Yeah, we got to get you hooked up with those.
Some flavor sticks.
Yeah, that's what you're missing in your life. Flavor sticks.
Hopefully they have barbecue.
Have you ever thought of just trying to bite like a big piece of rubber, and that way you really can't chew through it, but it just gives you something to chew on?
Tires out my jaw.
Well, I mean, maybe it'll strengthen your jaw.
I'm sure it's
that's right. You get that good jawline.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly. When you've dated women, do they know you bite too or no?
That's a great question. I think eventually at one point they take a look around. They're like, wait a minute.
They'll see that.
This guy's putting everything in his mouth.
Yeah, but haven't you been with someone for 2 years?
Yes.
So they know.
Well, yes, but they don't. How do I explain it?
Did they bring it up?
I don't know. No.
In 2 years?
Well, because I don't put that many things in my mouth.
Right, but when they see a remote control in their living room that's been bit, wouldn't they say something and call you out on it?
They're just like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah. All right. Anyway, we had to try.
There's not much you can say.
Kate, it's your only day off. I'm happy you called in. We wish you were here, but it's always great to hear your voice, and happy that camp is going well, and you're back at it again tomorrow.
It's going good. We'll be right back at it tomorrow. Hopefully I can get on the show again soon and give you guys an update on how things are going, but I'm very happy right now with how everything's been playing out.
Sounds good. Keep it up. We'll get another update for you soon, and we'll talk to you again face-to-face, very quick. I'm sure we'll see you again here real soon.
Sounds good. See you soon.
All right, Kate McConnell chiming in here on the program. Boy, you really weren't going to let it go with the advice for biting, were you? You wanted to make sure that – should we do that today? Do you think we should make that a focus for the next hour and 40 minutes?
Maybe some advice.
And let every caller into the show via the phones, Twitter, X, the app, anybody that wants to give Alberto advice on his – oral fixation and his biting can go ahead and do it.
I think that'd be a great idea. We might have some creative advice or tips from our listeners.
Okay, fair enough. It's all out there. We can even get advice from Charlie Wood. Maybe he has something for Alberto. We know he's got traffic, but does he have anything else? Here we go, 21 past as we continue.
Well, not really, Steve. No, not really. It's just something that I think that maybe the stress is getting to him or something. That's what causes that, because just you're under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. You need to relax. That's all I can say. But anyway, get to traffic right now. We have some crashes going on the west side, Artcraft and North Desert. We have a crash working here on Artcraft, so PD there. On the east side, busy intersection here, Joe Battle and Montwood. We have a crash again. Busy intersection with a crash, Joe Battle and Montwood. We have a minor accident working at Edgemere and Tim Floyd. Minor accident there, Edgemere and Tim Floyd. But then some congestion left over on the Montana westbound lanes at Wedgwood, Montana eastbound lanes at McRae. A lot of construction going on there in that central Montana area. So caution there. Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Rimcon. Thank you. Original family since 1946. Famous tortillas. Popular Mr. T specials. Full menu. Fresh, delicious, affordable. Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Rimcon. Charlie 1600. ESPN El Paso.
River Oaks Properties was founded by local businessman Jerry Rubin. Their locations include the rapidly growing, highly trafficked Zaragoza Road and East Lake Boulevard in Far East El Paso. In addition, River Oaks has recently completed Westtown Marketplace, El Paso's newest outdoor shopping destination. River Oaks helps create local jobs through retailers. Want to start a business or you need the best location? River Oaks Properties has the best locations in El Paso. For more information, visit roplpaso.com.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
Or being a dog person and a cat person.
Who wants a treat? Who's your good boy?
Or like being an extrovert and an introvert.
This is so fun! I can't wait to go home!
At T-Mobile, you don't have to choose. You can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how much you can save with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, we'll pay off your locked AT&T phone up to $650, and you'll get a new 5G phone for free.
Pay off via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Free phone up to $830 via 24 monthly bill credits with qualifying plan and credit plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling to continue bill credits or they stop and required finance agreement balance is due. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See T-Mobile.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi, I'm Cesar Milan. People are always commenting on how healthy my dogs are. One of the reasons is the food my dogs eat.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a premium freeze-dried raw dog food designed to support your dog's health, happiness, and lifespan. Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of cod Krispies. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Are you ready to get back to your friends, back to the games, back to the fun? As Western Tech presents the Back to School Expo, Saturday, August 10th at Cielo Vista Mall.
Join KISS FM from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. tax-free Saturday for an opportunity to register to win one of 4 $500 scholarships thanks to El Paso Electric.
From T2Go T Energy, register to win one of 24 deluxe backpacks filled with school supplies.
Check out the Back to School fashion shows on the YMCA Performance Stage thanks to Laura's Productions. Plus from GECU, the Mascot Showcase.
Don't miss the cheer team, the dance team.
Sign up to win great prizes from Pinova Dental, our back-to-school prize 1010 dental sponsor, and an awesome coloring contest from Baby Tree Surrogacy. Prizes at all booths, vendors, and more. Lower level by Dillard's and by J.C. Penney. Full back-to-school expo details at kisselpaso.com.
600ESPNElPaso.com.
$26 past the hour, one line available. 505-6009, our telephone number to get into the program. 505-6009. You can also get in on Twitter and X, 600 ESPN El Paso, and our free mobile app. I don't know why I keep saying it's our free mobile app. You know, it's a free app. Let's be honest. Mobile, schmobile. I was on my iPad this past weekend, and I've got the app there too. So, you know, it's a free app. It's not necessarily a mobile app, just an app we've developed. So there you go. I just got to get to the habit of not saying mobile app.
You get to read our articles pretty nicely on the iPad version of the app.
They look great. They do. They look great. And by the way, the online radio sounds just as good on the iPad as it does on the iPhone.
Plug it into a speaker or Bluetooth it into a speaker, walk around, and listen to 600 ESPN El Paso.
If you've got advice for Alberto on his biting habit, we'd love to hear from you. 505-6009, our telephone number, 6009. Let's begin with Enrique. He joins us next. Enrique, good to have you on. How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing well, thanks, Enrique.
So I got 2 bits of advice for Alberto. So the first one is an old trick I had back in my Army days.
Okay.
I don't recommend this portion, but there's an alternative. Dipping. I would put a big old chunk or a pouch right in my cheek, but there's a healthier version, well, you can call it healthy, or instead of tobacco or anything like that, it's called grinds, like coffee grinds. It's a pouch. You put it in between your cheek and your gum, and you just suck on it. It gives you like coffee flavor.
So when you're saying when he's sucking on this, he won't think about biting. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it's so basically it's to distract him.
Exactly. Because that's what he's doing is what I do. When I stress, I clench and I bite my nails. So to take my mind off of my stress, I used to throw a pouch, but that leads to my other alternative, is if he's biting, he's probably a clencher when he sleeps. Look into getting a mouthpiece or a mouth guard and just slide that in, and just, instead of ruining your teeth, clenching, you'll actually just have that. You'll feel that pressure, so it keeps you from wanting to bite.
I think it's a great idea. What do you think?
I definitely need to get a mouthpiece in case I'm clinching in the night, because now I'm worried that I'm clinching in the night. And who would be telling me? My can't talk. So who would tell me, hey, you're grinding your teeth in the night?
Yeah, you need that.
Yeah.
And you can just buy a mouth guard anywhere. I mean, you don't have to get a perfect, like one that's built for sleeping. Those are expensive, but you can always just get yourself a mouth guard. An athletic mouth guard, form it, and then just sleep with it on. That's exactly. How do you like the idea of the pouch with the coffee? I like that. I think that's cool.
I don't know.
You a coffee drinker?
I am a coffee drinker.
Then you might like that.
I do enjoy coffee. The problem is, let me tell you this. The thing is, it sounds a lot like a Zyn. Like a Zinni. Sounds a lot like an Upper Decky lip pillow. You know what a Zyn is?
No, what's a Zyn?
A Zyn is just like a new wave tobacco. It's kind of like dipping.
Yeah.
But you can swallow the spit instead of, and you won't.
Oh, you're not going to get sick.
Yes. But either way, that burns the gums.
Yeah.
Well, I know from experience. So it's, when you start messing with your gums, it hurts.
Yeah, but maybe the coffee won't. It won't harm you. And then maybe you'll get more. Maybe you'll just get more addicted to these pouches, and you'll stop biting.
I hope that's best case scenario.
There you go. Not a bad idea, Enrique. I like it. I like where you're going with that.
Just for Alberto's reasoning, there's no tobacco. It doesn't hurt the gums. I've done it. I don't feel a burn. It's just you just get a sweet sensation. That's it.
Okay, a little sweet sensation. That does sound nice. Maybe that works. Maybe that might be it.
Best of luck to you, Alberto.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call, man. That's it. All he wanted to do was give you advice. Then he was done with you. All right. Let me see what. I've got Domingo, but we got to get Sports Center. Let's do Michael Plundo. Come back with more in a moment. 600 ESPN El Paso.
Michael Plundo back here with your bottom of the hour ESPN Sports Center update. Let's get to it. This from earlier, as the Chiefs have made Harrison Butker the NFL's top paid kicker. The extension for newly signed Harrison Butker is for 4 years and $25.5 million, with $17.75 million guaranteed. At $6.5 million per year, Butker will make more than the previously highest paid kickers, Justin Tucker of the Ravens and Jake Elliott of the Eagles, who both averaged $6 million per season on their contracts. The deal ties Tucker to the Chiefs through the 2028 season. He was scheduled to make $3.5 million in the final season of the 5-year contract he signed with the Chiefs back in 2019. Butker, who represented and negotiated the deal himself, confirmed on Twitter that he was finalizing a 4-year extension. There's no place I'd rather be than with the Chiefs. Excited to finalize a 4-year extension. Let's get out to your baseball scoreboard right now. This coming in, the Mets absolutely dominating right now over the Cardinals. They are up 6-0 in the top 9. That game could be coming to an end here shortly. The Guardians in a close one with the Diamondbacks are up 3-2, and the Reds currently blanking the Marlins 4-0 right now. And we got some good games for you guys later, as the Phillies and the Dodgers, 2 of the top teams in the NL, will battle it out at 6-10. Phillies looking to get back on track, and it'll be Aaron Nola versus Tyler Glasnow. And the White Sox are just looking for any type of positivity, as they're on on a 20-game losing streak, the most since 1988, as they will look to snap that in Oakland tonight as they'll take on the Athletics. And another decent matchup between the Red Sox and the Royals out in Kansas City at 6:10. Both teams fighting for a playoff spot. That's a look at your ESPN Sports Center update. I'm Michael Plundo.
King of the O's. Appreciate you, Michael. Thanks very much for that as we keep things moving 32 past the hour. Let's see what Domingo has to say. He joins us next on the show. Hey, Domingo, I know you want to talk soccer, but before you do, what advice do you have for Alberto to try to fix that biting habit he has right now?
Don't know. Maybe chew gum every day.
He doesn't like gum. He already told us his gum issue is that it loses its flavor after like 5 minutes. So,
oh my God!
Have you ever chewed any gum that lasts longer than 5 minutes?
Nah, but I have a habit of chewing gum maybe more than an hour or two.
Really? So
Yeah.
So you don't care if it loses flavor. Once you start chewing, you don't stop. You basically chew it until it all dissolves.
No. No. Okay. I already know in the Olympics that now it's going to be Spain and France for the gold. And this is going to be crazy. Whether it be the host nation to win it all or Spain will get the double.
What do you think's going to happen?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the host nation will get it or pro Spain for the double because they won the Euro. And I had a theory years ago when teams were doing the Euro. I said, what's funny if a European team will get the Euro and the gold medal in the same year?
Well, realize this. France, Egypt wasn't easy. That was a tough matchup. They had to take extra time to get that done. But, hey, at least they set it up. I think France and Spain has a chance to be a classic.
Oh, yeah. And we already know, even though Morocco's in the third place game with Egypt, but it shows to prove that Morocco was in the third place game in the World Cup, and Morocco's going to attempt the bronze maybe in a few years. Maybe Peter's prediction might come true that Africa will win something.
Maybe. Could happen. Could happen down the road. Appreciate you, Domingo. Thanks for the call. Thanks for chiming in on your soccer talk today. And who knows? Maybe Morocco is one of those teams on the rise that has a chance in the next couple of years to really break through on the world stage. They're good now. Alberto, can they take the next step?
That's a difficult question. I think that there's so many pieces involved and so many different levels of teams. For example, this isn't the team that went to the semifinal of the World Cup last time that they went out, right? This is an under-23 team. So this is a younger generation that's also having success. So if they can bring all those generations together and really find a way to do it on the top stages when it's most needed, then I think they can transfer that success over. It's just an extremely difficult thing to do.
Meanwhile, the takeaway with Simone Biles after the Olympics, they're calling her the greatest by any measure. That was what was on the front page of ESPN. They're talking about her legacy in gymnastics and beyond. Someone that, even though she fell off the beam today and didn't medal, she still was able to score a silver medal in the floor exercise, and talking about how well she did at the age of 27. And somebody that no doubt is going to have one of the great Olympic legacies of all time.
You know, I don't want to pretend to know anything about gymnastics, Steve, because I really don't. Every time I watch it, I'm like, man, I'm so lost. The only part I actually can kind of keep up with is the scores and obviously the routine when it happens. She is like an NFL linebacker that is the best at that position. Like that, her build, she's so strong. Like when I see her, Steve, it seems effortless watching her flip. Like, just do a simple flip. It seems like it's effortless. She could do this in her sleep. So the way she is, displaying her athletic performance on the biggest stages of them all, I would say that as far as greatness goes, she's up there with all the best out there.
I mean, look, here's what's an interesting stat line, okay? Simone Biles, more national titles and more world championship medals than any man or woman in history. In fact, she has a combined total of 41 world and Olympic medals. Never been done. I mean, it's pretty remarkable when you think about it. She also has 11 medals in the Olympics. 7 of them are gold. Pretty remarkable that between Simone Biles and Katie Ledecky, 2 female athletes that could both go down as the best all time in their respective sports.
So Biles is a Texas product too, which is also cool, Steve. I believe she's Houston, if I'm not mistaken. She'll actually still be in her athletic prime once 2028 rolls around, and we're talking about Olympics coming to the States. So I'd be curious to see her if she, like Ledecky, who wants to compete, no doubt about it, in LA, if she decides to compete again here for the 2028 Olympics, when I think she's going to be just outside of 30 years old, or maybe right out at 30 years old.
I think she'll be 31. Actually.
Perfect.
Because she's 27 right now.
Yeah, so still in your athletic prime. You figure 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, that's probably your peak right there as far as athletes go. I'd be curious to hear if she retires after Paris, or if she does one more.
Gosh. I mean, you think about it, though. How many gymnasts would be competing at the age of 31? That's the thing, is that most of the time they retire by their early to mid-20s, let alone 27. It's pretty remarkable when you think about her legacy.
I didn't realize that the lifespan is at such young age for gymnastics. I was just thinking for, just generally speaking for sports. But the good part about her, if she does want to come back in 2028, is she's one of one. I mean, 31 years old, you're going to say no to Simone Biles? Like, no, of course not.
No, that's totally true. But, yeah, I mean, you can look at her right now and say this is the greatest American gymnast of all time, and you could probably make an argument that she's the greatest gymnast, period, of all time, when you look at her lasting legacy in the sport.
I mean, she physically, she hangs with everybody. She's so, it feels like she's icing on the cake whenever she goes out and she does her routine for USA Gymnastics. It feels like they've already won. They've already secured the gold medal, and she just comes out to just, again, put icing on the top and just show, hey, I can do this at the highest levels as well.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, here's the interesting thing, too. Remember, 3 years ago in Tokyo, the big story with Simone Biles then was she had the twisties, which is a loss of air awareness. And she withdrew from all but one event. And she just talked about, her mental health, and it's kind of interesting. I'll put it like this. When baseball players get the yips, that means that either the catcher can't throw it back to the pitcher, or the second baseman misses an easy routine throw to the first baseman, where it's a mental thing that athletes have to go through and conquer. Some do, some don't. I mean, there's great examples of terrific young baseball players who couldn't get past that, and there are other examples of other athletes having the same issue. And in Biles' case, because of the, they call it the twisties, that could have easily ended her career. But for her to come back and do what she's done 3 years later at that age is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, how far this discussion has come. I remember being on this show, Steve, and people were questioning, not us and not, obviously people in El Paso, but on the national media, they were questioning even her patriotism.
Yeah.
Like, are you really, should you really be on this Team USA team if you don't want to compete here and you're having anxiety or you're having worries, whatever it might be, before your event? Are you really committed to this program right here? And the answer was, yeah, of course. This is her life. Like, of course she's committed. What does she need to show? She's already done it at the highest level. She's already won the gold medal prior to the 2020 Olympics, and now she's back to just kind of validate, hey, I was out 4 years ago, and now I'm back in and better than ever.
Yeah, it's a great way to look at it. And again, everybody looks at Simone Biles and realizes that, yeah, they are truly watching greatness when she performs. All right, 19 in front of 6. We have Mike Craven joining us as part of our Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine Takeover in about 20 minutes from now. But before we do anything, let's go back to ABC 7 News. It's next, and then we'll wrap up hour 2, get you ready for hour number 3. A lot more to talk about in sports as we continue, including Aaron Jones making a name for himself in Vikings camp. We'll tell you what he's doing and why a lot of people think he could be in store for a big year. Sports Talk continues, 600 ESPN El Paso.
I'm ABC7's Paul Cicala. Happy Monday, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Ciudad Juarez. Here's your top stories on ESPN El Paso for Monday, August 5th, 2024. A Socorro man is being charged with murdering his neighbor and attempting to hide the victim's body. 39-year-old Oscar Rodriguez was arrested for the murder of 36-year-old Joel Olguin, and we are now learning about the details of the arrest. According to an affidavit filed by the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, Socorro police officers were alerted of a possible homicide on Thursday. The person who reported the murder met with officers and told them when he arrived home Thursday, Rodriguez told him he had gotten into an argument with Olguin and killed him. Rodriguez reportedly said he shot Olguin in the chest. Rodriguez then allegedly put Olguin's body in the bed of a truck covered by a piece of carpet and drove away. Rodriguez agreed to show detectives where Olguin's body was, and detectives drove him to the desert area off of I-10 and Fabens, where they found the body. With the ongoing protests and events in Venezuela due to recent election results, local migrant shelters are reacting to the impacts these actions have had here on the border. Now migrants who are in shelters right across the El Paso border in Ciudad Juarez are concerned for their families that stayed there. With President Nicolás Maduro set to continue as president of Venezuela, protests and violent events continue to rise in that country. Heriberto Perez will have more on ABC7 in our later newscasts. Meanwhile, Doppler Dave from ABC7 is saying that the temperatures this week will range from highs between 100 and 104 degrees. There's only a slight chance for a storm, and we're talking 10% or less through Wednesday. There'll be a bit better chances later in the week and into the weekend. So as for now, stay cool, my friends, and have a positive, productive beginning of your week filled with lots of joy. I'm ABC7's Paul Cicala for 600 ESPN El Paso.
Brought us.
Kind of sad and bummed. You'll never see these guys live again. I think Steven Tyler's days of touring with Aerosmith are now over because of his vocal cords. And, they canceled last week the rest of their farewell tour. So much for Aerosmith. I never saw Aerosmith live, did you?
No, Steve, I didn't. I did not.
I see Alberto shaking his head. He hasn't seen him live. All right, I'm sure probably Michael Plundo hasn't seen him. I wonder if Mike Craven from Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine ever saw Aerosmith live before they decided to hang him up. Since if not, you'll be like the rest of us, Mike. You won't see him anytime soon either. So tell us, was Aerosmith on your concert list over the years?
That was not. I live in Austin, grew up here. We see a lot of live music, obviously, but never saw Aerosmith live.
All right, well, then you're in the same club we all are right now. There we go. So we'll play them on the radio, and that'll be your memories of Aerosmith. Welcome back to the show, Mike. Good to hear from you. And since we spent the first part of the program today with your colleague Carter Yates, good to have you on to talk a little UTEP, since you had that unique opportunity, unlike Carter, to travel to El Paso recently, have a sit-down with new UTEP coach Scotty Walden, and if that's not enough, you guys went to Kiki's restaurant. What'd you order when you were at Kiki's?
I think Coach Walden had the steak tacos. I had the carne asada, I believe, is what I went with there.
Very nice. How does the food there compare to some of the top-notch restaurants that you're used to in Austin?
It's really good. I mean, I don't turn down any chance to go to El Paso, and one of the reasons for that is the food. I was on a little bit of a heater. I was kind of bragging about this earlier in a staff meeting. I had 3 straight meals of L&J, Kiki's, and then Taco OJ's in Fort Stockton on the way back. That is another excellent Mexican food place. So I definitely ate plenty of food and had to hit the gym when I got back. That is always the worry on the road trips.
Well, let me say this. I know Kiki's, obviously, and I know L&J's. I don't know Taco OJ's in Fort Stockton. So you're saying that if we're ever driving through Fort Stockton, that's a good place to detour and have a nice meal?
Yeah, no doubt. I lean on the Texas high school coaches for recommendations in the towns that they work in, and the guys at Fort Stockton swear by Taco OJ's. I had it this last time. It was excellent. It's up there with a lot of places I've eaten it. So, definitely have a vouch for me at Taco OJ.
Mike, was this the first time you've had the chance to sit down with Scotty Walden, or have you known him prior to coming to El Paso?
Yeah, we had done a couple of interviews we've talked kind of just being in the coaching circles and stuff like that. He'd come on a Zoom interview with us on our Republic of Football show. But really at coaching school, he came to coaching school with some of his staff, and each of the FBS coaches that come from the state kind of do an interview with a small group of media, and he talked about the weight room and that that was going to be unveiled soon. And so just afterwards, I just kind of asked him, like, hey, what day are y'all unveiling that locker room? He was like, it's July 31st. And I just kind of was like, hey, if I come out there, can I kind of hang out and just kind of be a fly on the wall and kind of watch that happen? And he said sure, and that's kind of how that went.
Terrific. So I'll ask you, when you had the chance to see the locker room unveiling and just the team's reaction and all that, how would you put the facilities that you saw here at UTEP compare with some of the facilities you're used to seeing around the college football world in Texas?
Yeah, I mean, they were tremendous, and especially if you kind of before and after this thing, like they were updated in a serious way after 20 years. The same company that built those lockers built the ones at Texas, so they're very similar design that the Longhorns have. I think Mr. Center said that it was about $12,000 per locker or something. I think I heard him say in there, and so definitely, I mean, a really good locker room, especially for a G5 program. A really great locker room. Just seeing the players' reactions was really fun because Walden played it up as if there was a delay in the locker room and they weren't going to get it right now and they'd have to wait a few weeks. And he kind of told a story about being at Austin Peay and then winning a conference championship a year that they didn't have lockers and the locker room was good. He kind of played it all the way up, and then randomly he was just like, never mind, I'm joking, go look at your locker room. And the whole room just went crazy. And I think sometimes we forget these guys are young men, I think older guys like me would call them kids in a lot of ways. And when you see those kind of moments, you're kind of reminded what college football is about and just the excitement of it. And that's always cool as a jaded sports writer after a while, right? You need that kind of stuff.
Mike, why are those things like important to younger people? Because I think on this show we've talked about it. Hey, these are important tactics for things like recruiting down the line, and I feel like for UTEP, they haven't had a lot to be excited about. I mean, it's a historically bad football program, but now they're injecting a lot of excitement not only with the fans but also with recruits.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like all of us, right? Like when we're thinking about where we want to live and the life that we want to lead, we think about where we live and we think about what our house looks like, our apartment, or our car, and kind of what our work environment looks like. And in a lot of ways, your facilities are all that wrapped into one. You kind of live there as a student athlete. Like you are there a lot, and the nicer it is, and the better it is to hang out there, and the more kind of amenities they have, even stuff as simple as just having some snacks out that you can grab, some food. You're still a college student. And in the NIL world, I think we look at these guys as employees that are making all this money, and, they're not for the most part, especially at a place like UTEP. And so anything that's nice, anything that's extra, it's not only going to help your football team be locked in, I think, and create buy-in within that room, but it also shows recruits that you care, that you're putting it in to the program. I guess I equate it to if you went on a job interview and you showed up to the office and the desks were 30 years old and the chairs weren't really working, you wouldn't really probably want to work there, right? But if it's brand new, you think to yourself, hey, these people think there's a future here and that they care. I think it's still the same. No matter how much the game's changed, I still think that kind of stuff really works with recruits.
Mike Craven spent a day with Scotty Walden. He wrote about it. It's the feature story up at TexasFootball.com. You can check it out right now. It's free behind the paywall, so you don't have to worry about subscribing. You could see it, and if you like what you see, then you can look into a digital subscription at TexasFootball.com and get even more content, including their subscriber-based exclusive content as well. Mike, when you had the opportunity to really be around Scotty, tell me a little bit about what you noticed from him, maybe things that weren't necessarily in the article, but some of your takeaways, just getting a chance to talk football with him and seeing the way, he was engaging with his team.
Yeah, he's an excitable guy. I mean, I think y'all know that. His energy level is obviously contagious, and just watching him talk to the team and kind of the attention he demanded, and like how he kind of straddles that line from being that old school kind of general football coach, but also being a young guy who can make some jokes and bring some lightness to a room when it's needed. He seems like a very practical leader who's just going to do things that he thinks works and not do them just because that's how coaches have done them for a long time. But what struck me about hanging out with him a little bit outside of like the normal setting of writer subject was just like he asked a lot of questions. Like he seems like an interested guy, right? Like not only is he interesting, but he's also like interested. And I left Tiki's, like that was kind of where we hung out for 30, 45 minutes, and I left there thinking to myself, like I think he interviewed me more than I interviewed him. And I think that all the coaches that I've been around that are really good at this thing, I think that's something that they have in common. That they ask questions about other coaches. They want you to talk about what you've seen that's worked at other places and stuff, and they're just always kind of wanting to soak in as much knowledge as they can, I think.
I asked something similar to Carter, and I'll ask it to you, Mike. What should fans be expecting here for year one? Because you can see it go a lot of different ways. I know the magazine itself, which Carter, he took care of the UTEP portion of it. He talked about the ceiling and floor, and one was 7-5, the other was 1-11. We kind of go right in between there. But regardless of what the record ends up being, what should fans expect here year one for Scotty Walden and this football team?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be fun to watch. They're going to score points. They're going to play fast. I think because they play fast, they're going to give up points in bunches at times as well. And that's not been true a lot in UTEP. He kind of showed a graphic to the team that kind of had some statistics offensively when he was talking to the offensive group, like what UTEP hasn't done and where they've ranked. And, he wants to score over 30 points, and UTEP hadn't done that in the last 10 years. I think he said the most that UTEP scored in the last 10 years was 26.6 points. And, he talked about the 400-yard games that they have or haven't had, and the passing yards and the rushing yards. Like, he is an offensive guy. He's kind of built his career on scoring points and having one of those offenses that's really simple for the players and really complicated or hard to stop for a defense. So I think that they're going to be fun. I think they're going to be up-tempo. I think they're going to be fast. I think it's going to be an exciting brand of football. I think it's going to be high scoring. But I don't know how much they're going to win. The front end of that schedule is pretty brutal. I mean, at Nebraska, at Liberty, at Colorado State within your first four. I mean, Southern Utah isn't a bad FCS team at all. Like, they're a pretty solid program historically. And that's before you start getting into conference play or, and deep into conference play with Sam Houston, and then you're back on the road at Western Kentucky. So, if this team starts 1-4, 1-5, like what does that do inside there? That's always the question, right? With a new regime is like in the off season, it's very easy for everybody to be bought in, but when adversity happens, kind of what happens then? I think the expectation should be more about maybe the momentum of the program and what you see rather than the results on the field in year one.
So I wonder, because that's a great point you bring up, and we all feel the same way. So, Mike, you are on the exact same page we are. Was that something you talked about with Scotty, or is he so positive on just the opportunity to inject life in this program that he's not even thinking about that possible situation, that to him, he feels he could still win 6, 7, 8 games this year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you get into the seat that Scotty Walden's in at the age that he's in without having this, like, undenying belief, right? Like, that is what he is, right? He's like this object that just moves forward, that believes in himself, that's positive, and I think in his mind, he's not thinking about what does he do with his team if they start 1-5. His mind is like, we can start 4-2, 5-1, like we can beat a lot of these football teams, like the gap isn't that high. And so, maybe deep down he's like realistic or what I would consider realistic, but I just think what he would define as realistic is different than what I would, right? I think he would just disagree with my opinion that they're going to be underdogs for 4 or 5 of those games. Like maybe in Vegas they would be, but I think he likes his team. I think he feels, what it reminds me of is like G.J. Kinney at Texas State going into last year where, he brought in a lot of FCS guys. He's this young coach. He hasn't coached at this level, consistently. I know Scotty had been Southern Miss interim, but he hadn't been a head coach at this level yet. A lot of new faces. What's the honeymoon stage going to look like? And Texas State went out there and just won. And I think, Walden sees his UTEP team as a team that can do a similar thing as that.
I had a question come in on Twitter and X from Enrique Ortiz. He says, with Scotty Walden's mentality on scoring points and yards, do you think that one of UTEP's quarterbacks can beat Jordan Palmer's career records for passing? Which is interesting because Palmer played a lot at UTEP, and he thrived under the Mike Price system, which was putting the ball in the air a ton during his career, yet he never really played in a fast tempo type of offense. So it's an interesting point he brings up. Could the Miners get a quarterback for in the NIL transfer portal world, keep him for more than a few years, and potentially close in on trying to be a record-breaking quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think this offense has the capabilities, to put up those kind of numbers, those kind of yards, those kind of touchdowns. I do think that a lot of times when we think of up-tempo and high-octane offenses, we go towards the air raid because that's kind of what it's been the last 10 or 15 years. I think Walden's more balanced than that. Like, they will run the ball 60 times a game if that's what they're doing the best, or if that's what the defense, isn't doing, isn't going to stop. They just do it very quickly. They just, are lightning-paced most of the time. So, I don't know if they're going to go in and, McConnell throws the ball 50 times a game or something like that. I think it'll look more balanced. I think it'll be kind of shorter passes, quick passing games, a lot of screens, a lot of RPO, still a pretty run-balanced type offense, but I don't know if the yards and touchdowns come in those kind of numbers right away.
Mike, I'm always interested in getting people who cover the whole state of Texas or just national college football perspective on this. Where is UTEP in the pecking order for NIL resources? I heard last week somebody say that every scholarship player at UTSA receives minimum $5,000. I was thinking to myself, man, that's something that UTEP's just not even close to doing here for football. But where would you say they are in terms of the pecking order, maybe even at the group of 5 level for NIL resources for football?
I would say that $5,000 per player is probably not as accurate. There's probably some. I don't know how to put that. I wouldn't bet the farm on every player at UTSA with a scholarship and get $5,000 on top of pension or stipends and what they already get. I do think UTEP has a way to go to catch American Conference type G5 programs. But they're right there with Sam Houston, if not above that, right? I mean, they've started a collective that, is football focused. I know Sam has one as well. But I think if you take out Liberty, maybe take out Western Kentucky, I think that they're, not too far away from where they need to be within Conference USA. And that's how you got to measure these things, right? Is, you try to win your conference, and then once you're in position to do that, maybe think about, catching the other G5 teams or whatever it will be. But I do think, in today's world, your head football coach has to be a fundraiser, has to get out into the streets, right, and get the community to get behind you, even if it's for $5 or $10, buy a ticket, if it's going in front of the donors. And I do think the current UTEP head coach is probably more likely to do a bunch of that kind of groundwork stuff than maybe the former regime, just because of a generational gap on what's required NIL-wise. Jeff Traylor at UTSA, to your point, has done that a lot. He's gotten on the ground and kind of, rattled those cages and tried to get San Antonio behind the team because he knows, money is what wins in athletics. And, I think Scotty Walden's probably going to follow a similar blueprint at UTEP, to where their NIL structure looks a lot different, a year from now than maybe it did when he first walked into the door.
Good stuff, Mike. Hey, we appreciate the time, and thanks for giving us the lowdown on your conversation with Scotty, sharing what you guys ate at Kiki's. That's always a big plus for us, too, and continued success out there at TexasFootball.com.
Appreciate you guys. Anytime.
Mike Craven, folks, as we continue here, 19 past the hour on Sports Talk. We'll take a timeout right after Charlie One, who's got a traffic update. We got plenty more to talk about as we get you ready till 7 o'clock. The 3-hour edition of Sports Talk continues right here at 600 ESPN El Paso.